And just keep working with them. Till you get them where you want them. Over here where these are so dark, I'm going to add a little gray, light gray back in. I don't want them to appear too dark. There's all kinds of branches here, but you can put as many or as few as you want. I'll put one up this way. And it twists back on itself. Got the separates there. Over here on this side, there's one that comes up and around. And goes up this way, and then comes out and over that way. And it also comes out there's also a branch that comes off this way, kind of sharpish. So you're going to bend it at an angle. And off of that one, comes one that comes down. This is kind of an interesting one. Comes down. I'm going to bring it across the front. Very interesting little branch there. And I'm going to add some light. Lighten it up just a little bit. There's one that comes up here. I'm just picking some of these. I'm not painting them all. Picking some. Now I'm going to, I've gotten several that are pretty major, so I'm going to go subtle on some of these. And I don't want them to be real stand outish. There's another one that comes down. This one. This kind of goes nowhere. Okay. Definitely a branch. Squeaky branch. Add a little bit. You just keep working those little twigs and branches. I'm not real happy with the way this one looks, so I'm going to open off the canvas with it. So it kind of leads your eye right on over. Okay. I think I'm going to stop there. But what I'm going to do right now is pick back up the brush, one of the brushes, and to get some texture on those trees a little bit, I'm going to dry brush some gray over in spots. So you pick up just a little bit of paint, just a little bit, and you're going to dry brush over, so that I pick up some tooth over the canvas. Don't worry if you get a little bit too much paint, it just adds interest to me. It's almost a bark-like texture to it. And pick up some gray and go back over it. Probably should have done this before I did the branches, but you can work in between and still pick up some text, because I'm not going to do it all, I'm just doing spots. Now I'm going to go over to the other one, do the same thing, pick up some dark gray. Brush all texture. Just a little texture. Little texture. And I'm going to come out on the left a little bit too. Pick up a little bit more. A little bit more. I'm going to stop there. Now it's time to do that bird. And I have two different reds, and I'm not really happy with either one of those reds because the Cardinal's kind of in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my reds till I get the red I like. This is an orangey red, and this is a red that's got too much blue in it. So I'm going to mix those colors until I get the color I like. It's going to be right about there. You can mix colors to get, in acrylics you can't mix just anything, but you can mix a lot more than you used to be able to when acrylics first came out, when you'd mix red and blue trying to get purple. You'd get mud, you'd get gray, and that's why I steered away from acrylics for so many years and didn't try them really until just a couple of years ago. I started painting with acrylics. To me, acrylics were for kids and for messing around, and I admired artists that could use them and make beautiful paintings with them, but I couldn't do anything. So we're going to take a little gray now. That sounds weird, but we're going to take a little gray and we're going to outline our bird. And I'm going to make my bird a pretty good sized little bird because I want him to show up. And I'm going to put his body right there. He's real puffed up. I think he's got his feathers fluffed trying to stay warm. I took this on a picture on a day when we had snow, which is unusual for Alabama. And we had snow, and there's his little tuft, and little head. Little head right over there. And then he's got a little beak right there. He's going to have a mask right there. I'm just kind of eyeballing it in. He's got a little wing sticking out there. So I'll make just a little definition there so I know where to go with the paint. And then he's got a tail hanging right down here. His tail. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in with red. It's not going to be all one red either, because if you do that, you've got a flat looking bird that looks like it's been painted by somebody that's 5 years old and artistic, but with a different eye. What we want is a bird's body that has some depth to it. So I'm going to take this main color that I mixed and I'm going to paint that body in with it. Don't worry if your gray shows through. Red's kind of translucent in acrylics. In fact, it is in oils too. It's just the nature of the pigment. But we're just going to get that little bird kind of painted in. He always looks like, with that little thing, like he's wearing a dunce cap to me. I think they're so cute. And his little faces with their little black eyes, black mask on, look so perky. So you're going to paint it in. In fact, I'm going to and then I'm going to do the tail feathers. Now I'm going to take the dark red and shadow down here, give it a little depth. And down here too. He's dark right through there. I'm going to take just the teeniest bit of black. Just the teeniest. Those are really in shadow right down there. That little black right there. Pull down. And I'm using a little bitty, tiny. It's a flat, size 4. Now I'm going to shade it down here towards his feet. I'll shade with the black. And over here on this little wing, I'll take just a little bit. And remember, you've got to be easy with this black or you'll have it covered in black. If you do, don't panic. You can go back over it with white and then cover it with red again. There are no mistakes. Remember, there are no mistakes. And that's it. Now I'm going to take, without changing, I'm going to come up here and do this. And I've got to squeeze some of the paint out because it's too, when your paintbrush gets fat and you want it to be flat again, just wipe the paint off. You don't have to rinse it every time. And then he's got a little, actually got little gray highlights around the edge, so I'm going to take a little white. You'll find in nature a lot of things reflect off of each other. Birds will reflect grays from the trees that they're sitting on. Their feathers will actually pick up and reflect some gray. So I'm going to do just a little bit around the edge. Just a little bit. Almost like he's reflecting that tree he's sitting on. A little highlight right down here too. We're almost in the home stretch here. And then I'm going to bring a little red over and blend. Then take a little bit more red, and a little bit more of the orangey red. This one actually comes to a point. One point it's like a little crest. I'm going to dab a little orangey red in there too. It's got a little bit of everything, really. They're not just one color. You think they are. A little lighter red right in here. Then we're going to let that get tacky for a minute. Then we'll finish with his beak. Okay, this is what I meant by you get different colors with acrylics. I mixed a little golden yellow with black, thinking I'd dull it down a little bit. I ended up with kind of a greenish yellow. Definitely not a beak for a bird unless you want a bird that looks like it's been puking. So I got a little brown up here, and I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow in until I dull it down. That's a little bit better. You may not be able to tell the difference there, but that is a duller gold and not a green gold. And now we got that mixed. I'm going to put a little bit of white in with it because I want it to be kind of opaque. Mix a little more yellow, and you just mix it till you get the color you want. And then I'm going to take my little teeny brush again, a little flat, number 2 flat, pick up a little of the yellow, and put the beak on that bird. It's actually almost an orange. I still want it to be kind of dull and not, you don't want the beak to stand out and look like something that's brassy and glary from way far away. So you just fill in that little beak. So you want it to kind of be a little dull. I'm going to take my brush, little tiny brush here. I'm going to try to get a little brown on it, just a little brown. And I want to kind of divide that beak. Just a suggestion. That's not the liner I need. Sometimes you just need a smaller liner. So I'm going to get a tiny liner here because this is small work. And I'm going to get a little more brown on it again. And I'm going to come up under. I don't want it to look black. And then I'm going to pick up some yellow and go back over the top. I really have a brushes of many different sizes, and it's a little rounded. His beak's a little bit round right there. So, and that's about all I'm going to do. I'm going to give him a little, now this may fail. If it fails, then we'll go over it. Give him a little eye. Just a little. Fail. Epic fail. Because you really can't see their eyes. So I'm going to go over it with mostly black and leave just a little tattle, just a little yellow showing around the edge. I mean very little. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to give him some little claws because it looks like he's just sitting there on a branch with no feet. You want to give him feet, and you just have to give him just a hint of a foot. I'm not too good at feet, so we're going to come bring some of this red down here. It's up here. Bring it down and cover them almost up, because I am not good at feet. Excuse me. And that's going to be about it for my bird. That's about as real as I want it to look. And what do you do when you're finished with your painting? What do you always do? You sign it. So I'm going to sign this one because I'm finished. Now sometimes when I look at a painting, I'll look at it for a while and then I'll go back and I'll add something because it's just not where I want it to be. So sometimes I do that. And that's okay. If you do that, that's okay. I'll notice I left a little gray off over here, so I'm going to fill in a little bit of gray right there. I know some of the old-time masters would work on a painting for years. We all know the Mona Lisa was carried around for years before it was finished and worked on, a little here, a little there, refined and finished. You don't have to spend that long on a painting. It's when you feel it's done. Just beware. You can overdo it, I think, and have too much of a good thing. So you have to be careful, because you can work a painting to death. I think this gives a pretty good idea of what I'm trying to convey. Give you a close-up now. This is the bird close-up. But who's going to look at a painting with their face right up to it? You don't. When you stand back, this is what you get. Close up on the trunk. That's that texture I was telling you about that I was adding. That's what that looks like. Farther back, it's not as noticeable. But the painting is all about having fun for me. It's all about having fun, and I hope y'all have had fun today with me. And you'll come back and visit again. Good luck and happy painting.